One people of the world. Hello and welcome to Marketing as a Foreign Language. September 2nd, finally starting to cool down here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Today on the show, the people who created Facebook and YouTube are sorry. Marketers turn to Facebook and Instagram to build brand awareness. Facebook provides an overview of content that it looks to exclude from its recommendation surfaces. Seems convoluted, don't worry, we'll explain. New report says B2B influencer marketing still has massive room for growth. I imagine that's true. And last but not least, Reddit's cheeky marketing campaign encourages users to vote. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here with Marketing as a Foreign Language. Let's get started. Oh my goodness, I'm so filled with happiness. Unlike these people, the people who created Facebook and YouTube are sorry. This is an article from refinery29.com. If you want the links to these articles that we're going to be reading here on the show, why don't you go ahead and check out the description wherever you find us, whether that's YouTube for the live show, 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, every single day, Monday through Friday, or on Spotify, iTunes, or the many other places you can find us, or the Facebook page for Sender Rising. So this is a first-person story from Morel Zaman writing, I've always been suspicious of what I consider tech alarmism. You know, dire headlines about how our phones are giving us all insomnia. I would agree with Morel on this particular thing. I think there is a lot of hysteria around social media, and I think a lot of it is unfounded. They continue deteriorating our ability to connect in real life, tanking our self-esteems, and maybe ruining our skin too. Oh, geez. Once COVID-19 hit, I even felt grateful for my access to technology, email, Google, Slack, Zoom, Twitter, Instagram, iMessage, WhatsApp, TikTok, Reddit, Libby, YouTube. Those are some of the tools that help me do my job, stay in touch with friends, relax before bed, and work out. Then I watched a screener of The Social Dilemma, Netflix's new documentary about our social media use. It's not that it made me feel guilty about my reliance on tech, more like it made me sick to my stomach and scared for the world. Whoa, that's pretty intense. Morel. Is that a guy's name or a girl's name? Morel? Not sure. Anyway, Morel writes, the documentary, which will be released globally on September 9th, interviews several people who essentially built social media. Tristan Harris, the president and co-founder of the Center for Humane Technology and a former Google design ethicist, is featured heavily. So are early developers of Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and they all say the same thing. We created a monster. Can you believe that? A monster. New Netflix documentary about the monster that is social media. The gist, according to Morel, is while we think of social media as a product that we consume, the reality is that we are the product. I've said this for many years. When you hop on Facebook, you are working for Zuckerberg, man. You hop on Instagram, same thing. You're working for them. So I've always used Facebook in the way that you're not supposed to, as a hideous platform to promote things that matter to me, like my book and stuff. I've always done that. And, you know, that does make me, I don't know, that guy that you don't want to follow at times. I understand that. But at the same time, I'm not a big fan of putting up content, you know, for free for some dude who's not paying me. That's kind of how I've always seen it. You know, I'm like, you know, if I can get something out of it, then fine, I'll do it. If it's going to help me make money, fine, I'll do it. But in the end, I mean, you're just spending your hours filling up someone else's website. I refer to it as getting Zuckerberged. It's when you do work for them and they don't pay you. Now, I need a video repository for all of like my kids' memories and stuff. Yeah, then I'll just upload videos of my kids and stuff. That's cool. And I'm not saying Facebook is a bad product. It's not. It's an amazing product. I'm just saying there are people who spend hours and hours working for Zuckerberg. I don't know, for reasons, because they like it. So there you go. So Morel continues, or more precisely, it's the gradual, slight, imperceptible change in your own behavior and perception that is the product. That's the only thing there is for them to make money from. Changing what you do, how you think, who you are. And I would argue where you spend your time, said Jaron Lanier, the founder of VPL Research and the quote octopus, whatever that means, at Microsoft. Morel continues, I know. I started off by saying I was skeptical of alarmist sentiments surrounding tech, but this documentary convinced me that what's happening as a result of our social media use is actually pretty dire. It's the unprecedented and perhaps unexpected result of the monetization of social media platforms. So the film delves into the mental health consequences of social media use. I think for you to not see social media use as something that is potentially addictive and potentially really destructive to your mental health, I don't know. I think there's a certain naivete, if you will, to that. I think we've known this for quite a while. If you spend a lot of your time looking at images of people who are happy and everything's great and everything's fantastic, and the actual amount of time you spend with real friends having real conversations diminishes, then yes, it is fairly clear to me that that is not going to be good for your health. So that's my 2 cents. Moving on. As the movie wrapped up, the interviewees, wow, don't see that word written every day, divulged what they do to protect themselves from social media. Turn off notifications, never click on recommended videos on YouTube. Use Qwant, a search engine that doesn't save your search history over Google. Wow. Follow people with different beliefs than you on Twitter. Take a minute to fact check an article before reposting it, especially if it elicits an emotional reaction. Keep devices out of your bedroom. Keep kids off social media until they're 16. Wow. Okay. You know what? It sounds a little bit to me like, when I was a kid and I would spend like 3 hours on the computer and, people would be like, how are you spending that much time on a computer? It's a ridiculous amount of time. And they come up with all sorts of ridiculous, thoughts about how it's going to affect me and my brain and my life and whatever. And perhaps it has. But more probably, I would argue that, I don't know, I spend 8 hours in front of a computer screen every day now for a living, and it's how I make money. So there's that. Marketers turn to Facebook and Instagram to build brand awareness. Our next article here, socialmediatoday.com, author Emma Wiltshire. Ooh, it's normally Andrew Hutchinson. Today, Emma Wiltshire. Last week, we ran a few polls in the newsletter to learn more about marketing goals and how they vary between social media platforms. You may use a platform to accomplish many goals, but there is most likely one goal that you both have invested in and have consistently seen a great return on that investment. We selected 4 common social media marketing goals to look at: brand awareness, lead generation and sales, customer service, community engagement. Instagram and Facebook were the first 2 platforms we selected for the polls, given the immense user base of both platforms. Okay. So Instagram brand awareness took the lead with 39% of participants claiming this to be their primary goal on the platform. Brand awareness, Instagram. Yeah, that's true. Instagram really isn't a conversion-centric social media platform unless you're selling like clothes, maybe. This could be an indicator that Instagram is a great place to launch a new brand on social and to get noticed. Also, thank you to my wife, Lanasia, for that lovely comment. Much appreciated. Once again, brand awareness took the lead on Facebook with 30% of the majority vote. Next, with 26% of the vote, came generation and sales. Okay, following close after with 24%, it was community engagement. It's not a huge surprise that these 2 polls shared similar results. This article is what I would like to refer to as not very good. Moving right along, Facebook provides an overview of content that it looks to exclude from its recommendation surfaces. This from Andrew Hutchinson, Social Media Today, link in the description, in an effort to improve transparency and provide more guidance as to how it shows user content within their feeds. Facebook has today published its recommendation guidelines, which includes a listing of topics and themes that are ineligible to be highlighted within its various discovery surfaces. So Facebook explains, quote, "We make personalized recommendations to the people who use our services and help them discover new communities and content." Both Facebook and Instagram may recommend content accounts and entities, such as pages, groups, or events that people do not already follow. So it's a pretty big deal, obviously, to have these, quote, recommendation surfaces in your life on Facebook. Some examples of our recommendation experiences include pages you may like, suggested for you, posts in newsfeed, people you may know, or groups you should join. So a pretty big deal showing up in these. Andrew continues, in order to ensure that these recommendations don't amplify rule-breaking content, Facebook has a range of rules as to what content is eligible. All right. So the strategy behind this involves removing content that violates the platform's community standards. So here we go. Another quote from Facebook. Through our recommendation guidelines, we work to avoid making recommendations that could be low quality, objectionable, or particularly sensitive. And we also avoid making recommendations that may be inappropriate for younger viewers. So why is this important for Facebook marketers to note? There may be elements which apply to your pages depending on the sector or business you operate within, your past history on the platform. Yeah, sort of, kind of. So content that impedes Facebook's ability to foster a safe community. So anything about self-harm or suicide, obviously, violence, sexually explicit or suggestive posts, duh. Content which promotes the use of drugs or alcohol, we get it. Updates shared by any non-recommendable account. So this to me is pretty self-explanatory. Sensitive or low-quality content about health or finance. Finance, that's interesting. So perhaps it's more difficult to get suggested if it is financial in nature. Promoting or depicting cosmetic procedures. Apparently Facebook not a big fan of that. Updating or containing exaggerated health claims. Be interesting to see what they think exaggerated means. Content attempting to sell products or services based on health-related claims, so weight loss, that sort of stuff. Posts which promote misleading or deceptive business models like payday loans. Also content that users broadly dislike is unlikely to be shown. Things like clickbait, engagement bait, contests. Contests or giveaways they don't like. Posts which include links to low quality or deceptive landing pages or domains, websites loaded with ads as an example. And then content associated with low quality publishing. That would be unoriginal content, largely repurposed from another source. News content that doesn't include transparent information about authorship. Content from websites that gets a disproportionate amount of clicks from Facebook versus other places on the web. Well, that is interesting. Content from websites that get a disproportionate number of clicks from Facebook. So they don't like it if your website gets a lot of clicks from them. What? I don't imagine many business pages are repurposing content from other sites stealing, but it's another point worth keeping in mind. And then last but not least, false or misleading content. Well, that's pretty self-explanatory, isn't it? So some of the items that Facebook is looking to not promote on their social media platform, and the buzzword would be recommendation surfaces. Again, recommendation surfaces, meaning recommending experiences, including pages you may like, suggested for you, posted newsfeed, people you may know, or groups you should join. So obviously, those things are pretty important. You want to show up in those in Facebook, and the aforementioned reasons will stop you from doing exactly that. New report. This is from Forbes.com. Link in the description. New report says B2B influencer marketing still has massive room for growth. Here's my problem with influencer marketing for B2B. There's a lot of people out there trying to rip you off. A lot of people with pretty scammy accounts. A lot of garbage when it comes to influencers faking their numbers, because they obviously have an incentive to do that. So really, you need to investigate who the influencer is, what their actual number of likes is. Have they done promoted posts in the past? How have those promoted posts gone? And then you do kind of end up in this sort of like mid-sized business tier where, you know, if you have a $2,000 a month marketing budget, yeah, it's gonna be tricky to have yourself a nice influencer campaign, because you're already doing SEO, pay-per-click, social. You don't really have all that extra money lying around to do influencer marketing. That being said, I will admit a certain degree of ignorance in this particular discipline, because the vast majority of our clients are small businesses, service-based businesses, plumbers, doctors, attorneys, that sort of stuff. And there isn't a ton of convincing evidence that I've seen to date that would suggest I, invest heavily in influencer marketing. That being said, I have read quite a few articles that do sing its praises. Here we go. Business to business influencer marketing. This is from Shama Hyder with Forbes.com. She writes, it's not new, but a recent report from Top Rank Marketing shows many companies, large and small really, are still struggling with it. Oh, that's true. Even after all of these years, the 2020 State of B2B, that's business to business influencer marketing report, the first of its kind, takes an in-depth look at brands, B2B influencers, and case studies to highlight industry best practices and offer recommendations for those working to develop their B2B influencer marketing strategies. Digging into the results, one can quickly see a trend in B2B marketers who are optimistic about influencer marketing, yet not confident about their ability to execute. That pretty much defines the way I feel about it. I am optimistic about it, but I am not confident about it's not my ability to execute. I am not confident about the return on investment. So what's up with the disconnect? So here we've got author Lee Auden, CEO and co-founder of Top Rank Marketing. Little Q&A question: why aren't brands confident about their ability to execute influencer marketing? According to Mr. Auden, working with influencers is relatively new for many B2B brands, so there are many misperceptions about how it works, lack of documented strategy, and low adoption rates. A couple key factors include many marketers view influencer engagement through the lens of advertising, which I do, as a transactional arrangement. Yep. Promote our product or service and we'll pay you. That's exactly what I think it is. That might work in B2C, but in B2B, influence is a relationship business. Influencers want to work with brands they believe in and that their audiences can get value from. 39% of marketers say their top challenge with influencer marketing is the process is too manual. As a new discipline for many, processes are not refined, and 41% of marketers are not using any technology to identify and manage influencers. So, question: according to the research you've done, brands value B2B marketing. Why? With the pandemic causing a loss of in-person B2B tactics, field marketing, in-person trade shows, etc., influencers provide valuable and trusted perspectives based on that change. Trust, reach, we get it. So, all right. How do I feel about influencer marketing in 2020? B2B influencer marketing, let me think of something that might actually work. So here at Send It Rising, we're B2B, right? So we're looking for businesses that want to hire us. We're basically, we interview all the time, right? So when we talk to a client, it's just like a job interview. They're measuring our credentials. They want to know our salary requirements, basically, to do what for them. And it's all about relationships. So I kind of feel like I need to become the influencer, if that makes any sense. That makes more sense to me than going and hiring someone who is an expert. I mean, if I had someone on staff, well, I do have someone on staff who's a bit of an influencer. Check out ShaleeWanders.com. She's a travel blogger, but an influencer in the digital marketing space. If I were to hire someone who was an influencer in the digital marketing space, I can't imagine that they wouldn't already be affiliated with some sort of internet marketing company already. Otherwise, what are they doing? Why would they be a digital marketing influencer without offering that particular service? That seems weird to me. So perhaps we'll think about another option. So maybe you're selling software that's B2B software. Call it tax software for B2B. I guess you could try to find an influencer. Do you see the problem though? A lot of these things just aren't sexy, like tax software, right? I mean, if you're doing B2B and you're trying to do like wholesale dresses, you know, and it's fashion or wholesale makeup, that sort of stuff, then yeah, I mean, there's definitely a market for influencers because those sorts of things are interesting. Dance, music, all that stuff. But if you're looking for an influencer in the legal space, it kind of is up to the owners of the company to take on some of that responsibility, I feel. And I feel like this is one of the reasons why B2B influencer marketing just hasn't really taken off. Now, B2C, if you're McDonald's, then yeah, I mean, you're contacting these people all the time. You're like, oh, I'm eating a Big Mac today. So that's pretty obvious how you'd want to go about that. So yeah, I don't know. B2B influencer marketing, I'm not sold. Sorry, Forbes. Maybe you'll sell me next article. Last article of the day is, excuse me, that's how you know we're live. It's not the Rona. Adweek.com. Link in the description. Reddit's cheeky marketing campaign encourages users to vote. It's the platform's first brand marketing campaign. I read a book about Reddit. What was it called? Something? Can't remember. It was good though. The Mouse on a Mouse got 109 more votes than it took to decide the 2000 presidential election. Okay, so this is based on upvotes on Reddit. If you can vote for this United Steak, STEAK, and it looks like a American steak. It is a steak in the form of the United States of America. You should vote for real America too. So apparently, Reddit is hopping into the political fray. Sarah Jerde is the author of this particular article, which for some reason is not showing up. And the reason it's not showing up is it is completely ad blocked. Did you ever open up an article and then realize that they're super sneaky? Adweek.com wants me to register to see this article. And guess what? I will not be registering for this article live, but I will be checking out Facebook stock real quick. Facebook stock is up 1.6%. Looking good. Anyway, let's recap the news of the day. There's a new documentary coming out. It's called The Social Dilemma. It'll be out on the 9th. You may want to check it out. You may want to perhaps look at the hours of social media that you're spending per day. You may want to look at your kids' usage of social media and try to find that balance. How is such a thing even possible? I certainly don't know, but from the looks of it, Morel, the author of this particular article, thinks that it's a bit of a wake-up call. So a documentary perhaps that you may want to check out on Netflix. Marketers turn to Facebook and Instagram to build brand awareness. Yeah, we get it. It's not really so much for conversion. It's definitely for getting the word out. Instagram, the Send It Rising Instagram channel gets way more likes than the Facebook page. Who knows why? Maybe it's just more fresh, less competition. It just works. So brand awareness, Instagram, they are connected. Facebook providing an overview of content that it looks to exclude from its recommendation surfaces. Some of the key takeaways for me on this one weren't the low quality content, but health or finance, that's interesting to me. Cosmetics is interesting to me. Anything that's clickbaity, low quality publishing. I found the data point that Facebook, number of Facebook clicks on a website, if it's too much, that they're unlikely to recommend content. I found that fascinating. So quite a few reasons why Facebook would not want to recommend your content. But in the end, obviously, quality is all that really matters. Focus on quality. New report says B2B influencer marketing has still has rather massive room for growth. I think it does, sorta, with the key exception that you're going to have to show me something resembling return on investment. And the influencers in the B2B space, I feel like, are the business owners. So we'll see. They say massive room for growth. I say, yeah, maybe. Not to mention, this is just an interview between someone who I'm pretty sure is selling B2B influencer marketing. But I am open to being convinced. Let's take a look at these top-ranked marketing guys, shall we? We're going to swing over to their website, see if this is what they do. Smart, creative, focused on results. Well, here you go. LinkedIn, Dell, 3M, Oracle, GE. Yeah, if you're working for Oracle, I could see the need for influencer marketing, or GE or 3M. But if you're not working for GM or Oracle, then perhaps, your $200 influencer marketing budget is not really what he's talking about. So yeah, Fortune 500 companies, B2B. Yeah. So I suppose we should expect that from Forbes, huh? Not really talking about the common dude, talking about the massive Fortune 500. And apparently there's a cheeky marketing campaign that Reddit's doing that we know nothing about because we're unable to access that particular article. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for swinging on by. 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time is the live show. If you have any questions for me, you can email me info@senditrising.com. That's info@senditrising.com. You can ask questions on the live show itself. To get to that, just go to YouTube, punch in Send It Rising, subscribe, notification bell, or swing by the Facebook page, Send It Rising Internet Marketing, and voila, you're right there. Thank you so much for the likes. Thank you so much for the love. Thank you, Esther, for the thank you. We appreciate it. And we'll see y'all tomorrow. Same time, same exact place. Who doesn't love an outro?